Hey, welcome back to Pheeistalking415. Phee here. Thank you guys for watching, seriously, or listening on iTunes. Be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with me. I would love to stay in touch with you guys. I pray that these messages are a blessing to you. And if they are, make sure you get here every week, and you can make it easier on yourself by subscribing either on YouTube or on iTunes for the audio version. Today, we're continuing in highlights from Isaiah, and we're talking about something that everyone loves talking about. We're talking about fear. Of course, everybody has fears. It's just not something that we typically talk about. We might talk about spiders or snakes or something like that. But the reality is, there are things that are going on in our lives. There are things that we are afraid of that we really should not be afraid of. There are things that we're afraid of that are kind of irrational, especially for Christians. Now, I remember when I was little, I have two older brothers, and they would torture me by doing what they called the we. Now, the we was simply one of my brothers would grab my ankles, the other brother would grab my wrists, and they would swing me onto a bed. Sounds like fun, right? For some reason, to me, when I was little, this was horrifying. This was the worst thing that could ever happen to me, bar none. I mean, I screamed, I flailed, I struggled as much as I could. I would cry. I mean, I was just totally tortured by this. The we. Any other normal kid would have thought it was a really, really fun thing to participate in. I was scared to death of it. I hated it. And even after they would throw me on the bed, I would obviously not be hurt at all. I would still feel so traumatized, even now, kind of when I think about it. Oh man, it still kind of sends shivers down my spine thinking about how much it affected me. Now, did it make any sense at all for me to be afraid of the we? No, it didn't. I should have thought it was fun. I could have enjoyed it. But since my thoughts were wrong, since how I thought about the we was incorrect, was irrational, it caused me to be tortured, even caused me to experience trauma at the hands of my brothers. I'm very thankful that the people in my family, the worst that they did to me was swing me onto a bed. Not really that harsh of abuse there. So props to my brothers for not doing worse things than that. But what is it that you are afraid of that doesn't really make sense? And maybe you don't realize it doesn't make sense, but bring it into the context of your right relationship with God. Now, if you've invited Jesus Christ into your life, all of your sins are taken away, and you have been given a relationship with God in His righteousness. Just as if you never sinned, that's how you are in God's eyes, right standing with God. So that means this God who's all-powerful, the one who spoke the universe into existence, He is so big, so strong. What is it that you're afraid of that He can't handle? Nothing at all. He can handle everything. He loves us so much. If God is for you, who can be against you? The Apostle Paul said. So what I want to do is take our fears, identify what we're afraid of, and then bring that into the context of our right relationship with God. Now, really, fear can only get into us by way of doubting God. If we're afraid of something, that means, maybe not consciously, but that means that we're at a point where we're believing that either God isn't big enough or God doesn't care enough to help us with this problem, to help us with this fear, or to overcome it. Now, that's obviously a problem that we're going to have to deal with. God is big, He is strong, and the way we get fear out of our lives is to really recognize that again, to recognize that God is all-powerful, He is all-loving, He is for us and not against us, He is on our side, or rather we're on His side. Therefore, He protects us, He helps us, and He gets us to that next level in life every time we put our trust in Him. Now, something that I struggle with, I'm just going to be a little transparent. I can be afraid of what people think about this ministry. And, that really bugs me. I know I shouldn't care what people think. I know I'm doing this for God. I'm not doing this for the accolades. But still, if I walk away from a situation and I think in my mind that that person probably thinks that my ministry or the ministry that I lead isn't legit or isn't at a certain status, man, that kind of hurts me. And realistically, they're probably not thinking that at all. They're probably not even giving a thought to my ministry at any rate. They're probably just not thinking of me at all, and I should be okay with that. But really, when I think about that, when I fear what people think about my ministry, what's really going on underneath that is I've questioned God's call in my life. I've doubted God's ability to take me from, just a low level, not getting to speak to very many people. I'm doubting that God is taking me from that stage where I started and bringing me through where I am now, where I'm speaking all over the country, to eventually He's going to take me onto an international level where I'm speaking to thousands upon thousands. And I should be looking forward to that, regardless of what other people may think. I should realize that the Bible does say that it's God's intention to make us look like fools to confound the wise. So obviously, there are going to be some people that doubt what God has called me to do, that doubt what this ministry does. So I should be expecting that. I shouldn't be afraid of it. And furthermore, I should never doubt God's call on my life. It's been confirmed. It's in my heart. I know it's His word speaking to me, sending me to do these things. I should not doubt God. So, let's look at this highlight from Isaiah here. Isaiah 33, verse 6 in the Message version. It says, God keeps your days stable and secure. Salvation, wisdom, and knowledge in surplus. And best of all, Zion's treasure, fear of God. What? Fear of God is best of all? How could the fear of God be better than salvation, wisdom, and knowledge in surplus? Well, it works like this. The fear of God is so valuable because if you're truly in fear of God, that reverent, full of awe kind of fear, what that does is it causes you to not be afraid of anything else. You see, the fear of God, when in its true sense, it's exclusive, meaning that if you're truly in fear of God, then you can no longer be in fear of anything else. Now, the answer to our fears, the answer to our doubts, is to realize how powerful God is. And when we fully realize His power, then He is all that there is room to fear. Now, we do have a right relationship with God. We're not afraid of God in the sense that He might strike us down. We're afraid of God in the sense that He is so powerful that we need to make sure that we're in right standing with Him. We need to make sure at all costs that He has no reason to be angry with us. And we can do that by believing in Jesus Christ, inviting Him into our lives. And if we've done that, we need to realize that we have nothing to fear because our God is that big. Our God is that powerful. We are in right relationship with Him. So the fear of God, of who He truly is, it casts out all other fear. I can remember our record label, Fireflight's record label, the president, his name is Terry Hemmings, super nice guy. But there was one day when we were hanging out at our label's offices and just having a good time with the people that we worked with there. And Terry Hemmings came up in conversation. And the staff of the record label began to share these stories about when Terry comes around, how they get so nervous because he's the big boss man. He calls the shots, and they're just really afraid of him. And they want to know when he's coming around. If he comes into their office unannounced, that's a stressful time for them. And, I was sharing with them that I really like that. I like that so many people are that nervous around him, because I like to get in the middle of that situation and kind of be disarming. And I started calling Terry nicknames. Everyone thought that was funny. I called him Big T, among many other nicknames. And what actually developed is Terry Hemmings and I developed a friendship. And when I announced that I was leaving the band, he was the first person from our record label to tell me that he was really going to miss me. And I really valued that. But at the same time, all these people working for this record label, they're afraid of this man who's really a sweet guy. He's really, really nice. Why are they afraid of him? Because they think that he controls their destiny. They think that since he's the boss man, well, he can fire them and then they could be out of a job. They have this fear of a man, when the truth is that God is in control of their destiny. If they will trust God, make wise decisions according to his word, God is the one who prospers them, not Terry. And I've just found that there's so many fears like that, where it might be a person, it might be a situation. We get afraid of things when they have no power over our lives. No, it's God. When we put our trust in him and live how he has called us to live, God is in control of our life. God has our destiny in his hands. No, nobody else can affect that. We're protected. We're in right relationship with a God who is bigger than anyone and anything. Our fear of God casts out all other fears. Let's look in Proverbs chapter 28, verse 1. It says, "The wicked run away when no one is chasing them, but the godly are as bold as a lion." We need to make sure that we're not running away from things that really can't harm us. Now, we're in the protection of God. Our fear of God should deepen and allow us to see that these other fears just don't make any sense. They're irrational. The fear of God is more valuable than pleasant circumstances. When the disciples were out on the boat, they were in the middle of a storm. Jesus was sleeping like a baby. In the middle of that crazy circumstance, Jesus had peace. Why? Because he knew his Father. In the middle of that trouble, he knew the fear of the Lord. He knew that God was bigger than that storm. He wasn't worried. He wasn't concerned. And we need to strive for that same attitude, that same way of life, that no matter what is going on, we have no reason to be afraid. Even fear of any kind is irrational because of the powerful God who is living on the inside of us. It also says this in Psalm 112, starting in verse 6. "Those who are righteous will be long remembered. They do not fear bad news. They confidently trust the Lord to care for them. They are confident and fearless and can face their foes triumphantly." That's you. That's you that God is talking about in his word right here. In this psalm, it's the people of God, the family of God, his righteous ones, the ones that he has made righteous with his son's own blood. That's us. We're the righteous. We'll be remembered. We don't have to fear bad news. Whatever news might come up, we don't have to be afraid of it. We don't have to be afraid of a doctor's report. We don't have to be afraid of a report card in school. We don't have to be afraid of bad news. Why? Because we confidently trust God to take care of us. God is our caretaker. We need to have a deep fear of the Lord, not afraid that he's going to do something bad to us. No, we're in right relationship with him. The fear of God that we have is a reverent fear. We're in awe of him. We're afraid of him in the sense that we better be assured that we are in right relationship with him. And because we are assured, because we are in right relationship with God, that means that we have nothing else to fear. Fear of God casts out all other fears. I pray that whatever you're afraid of, that you'd bring that fear into the context of your right relationship with God. I pray that you'd identify it as totally irrational because of how big God is. And I pray in Jesus' name that you'd be set free from fear, that you no longer doubt God in that area, that you no longer yield to that lie, but that you'd embrace the truth that God is big, He loves you, and we're on His side. We're protected. We have nothing to fear. God bless you guys, and I'll see you next week.